tell me now, what is morphology? External study. Okay, morpho means external. So we are studying about what? About plants. So morpho means external study of plants. Okay, logy means study and morpho means external structures. So we are studying about the flowering plants, the highest form of plants. Okay, so what are the highest form of plants? They are flowering plants. If you take flowering plants are considered as typical, because from algae to flowering plants, these are the highest forms. Okay, angiospermic plants are the typical highest forms. So we are studying about the typical angiospermic plants. Flowering plants or angiospermic plants are same. Okay, so tell me, if you take any weed plant, any plant, so what are the structures you can see by seeing a plant? What are the structures you will see? Leaf, root, stems, everything. So we are studying about the external features. Okay, it's not anatomy. Anatomy means it's a study of internal features. Okay, okay. So when you sow the seed on the ground, okay, so what you will observe? The growing of fruits, and the aerial part is stem. You will see from the aerial part many plant organs like leaves, fruits, flowers will arise. Yes, no? So coming to here, see, this is the plant. Okay, so when you sow the seed, what will happen? From the radical, the root part will be arises. Okay, so from the plumule, the aerial part which is called shoot. Okay, shoot will be going to arise. From the radical, the root part is going to arise. So for any typical flowering plant, any plant, you see the two systems. Okay, what are those? That's a root system and shoot system. The root system arises from the radical and the shoot system arises from the plumule. Okay, so tell me, which is underground part now? Root is the underground part. So is growing towards the geotropism or towards the phototropism, which means towards the soil or towards the sun? Towards the soil, which means gravity. Yes, no? So the root system is positive to geotropism. And coming to the shoot system, is negative? Is it positive to geotropism? It's negative to geotropism. So the shoot system, arises towards the phototropism or geotropism? Phototropism. Photo means light. The growing of plant, the shoot system growing towards the sun. Yes, no? So it is nothing but the phototropism. The shoot system is positive to phototropism or geotropism? Phototropism. And negative to geotropism. Okay. Any typical plant, any angiospermic plant, the root and stem arise from the root system by radical and shoot system by plumule. So the radical is towards the geotropism and negative to, because it is not growing towards the sun. It's it is ascending growing or descending growing? Descending growing. The root is always in the underground, right? It's showing the descending growing, and the stem is always showing the ascending growing aerially. Okay, so first we will know about the root. Okay, so is any types of roots? Tell me, what are the types of roots? Tap root, fibrous roots, adventitious roots. Okay, so one most important point is, from aerial part of the shoot system, any part like leaves, fruits, flowers, they arise from the branches at the nodes. Okay, from the node regions only, any part, any plant organ will be erased from the nodes only. So this is the node. Okay, this is the node. The leaf erase or not? Yes, no? So the space between to node is internode. Okay. And coming to the stem, at the young time, when it is a young baby plant, okay, it is in the color of green or brown? Green. Okay. And coming to the later, it becomes to the color of brown. Okay, which means when it is in the young stage, it will also do the photosynthesis. Okay, then the stem also shows the photosynthesis process. That is why it is in green in color. Later part, later it goes to the brown, it will not do the photosynthesis. Okay. Coming to the first root part, we will see first root. Okay. What are the types of roots? 3 types of roots. One minute. Okay. What are types of roots? Taproot, fibrous roots, adventitious roots. Okay. Out of 3, the most stability creates by the plant is taproot. Why? Because it is having the mother root. It is having the primary root. Okay. This is the primary root. Okay. This is the primary root. So it shows the several orders of roots. Like, so this is the primary root. Yes, no? Then it is having the secondary root. Okay. It is having the secondary root. These secondary root having the tiny young roots. Okay. These are tertiary roots. Okay. They are showing the several orders of roots. Okay. So coming to the examples of this, the taproot system is carrot, radish, oak trees, mustard. These having the most stability. So they most firmly attached to the soil and provides the stability, which means anchorage. Okay. And coming to the fibrous roots. So firstly, the fibrous roots also arise from the primary root only, but it is very short lived. Okay. It will replaced with numerous roots, nothing but those are fibrous roots. Okay. These are replaced with numerous roots. They are called fibrous roots. Okay. From the base of the stem, these numerous roots will be erased. Okay. The examples of it is, fibrous roots is RW, rice and wheat. Coming to the adventitious roots. What are adventitious roots? Other than the primary root. Okay. Other than the primary root, the roots are erased from any part of the plant, either from the leaf, either from the branches. If the roots are erasing, which means those roots call it as adventitious roots. The examples are banyan tree, monstera and sweet potato as well. It is a sweet potato. It is having the nodes. Okay. From the nodes, see, these are the roots are erased. Okay. So which means the roots are not erased from the primary root. If the roots are erased from the primary root, those we call it as either the taproot or the fibrous root. Other than the primary root, if the roots are erased, means what we call that is adventitious roots. The examples are monstera and banyan and sweet potato. Okay. These are the types of roots. Come to the next. So functions. Tell me what are the general functions of the root can do? Yes. The main function is conduction of water and minerals, and it transport all parts of the plant. Yes, no. The primary requirement of water for mainly for photosynthesis. Yes, no. So the main the main primary function of the plant is, we know that photosynthesis. So by the photosynthesis only the plants can grow. Yes, no. That can build their structure. So that water is transported by roots. Okay. So and the minerals as well. Plants also need minerals. Okay. And it provides the anchorage. They are living on the adverse conditions, many cyclones. So they are firmly attaching to the soil by the root system only. Okay. It mainly provides the anchorage. Okay. And that makes to it will live on a stability condition. And coming to it stores the reserve food material. So see, is the plants need energy? Yes or not? Yes, they also need energy for the absorption. Okay, there are, see, if you are not at food, you feel very energetic or not? No. Why you are feeling not energetic? Because you don't have food. So is the plants in this, you can do anything, you can write the exam if you not having food? లేదు కదా, మనం చేయలేం, ఎగ్జామ్ కూడా రాయలేం కదా. Further, plant is also like that only. If they don't have food, they cannot absorb the water and minerals as well. So the whatever the reserve food material stored in the root, it will break down and convert into energy. Okay, that energy makes the root to absorb water and minerals. Okay, they store the reserve food materials. And the synthesis of plant growth regulators, which means, see, plant growth regulators or plant hormones are same. Okay, for the development, for the growth, the hormones are also take part in the building of their own structure, help for the mainly growth. Okay, so these are the primary functions. So from every part of the plant we are going to learn in the morphology, from root to till the flower. For the fruit, tell me, what are the vegetative characters of the plant? What are the vegetative parts of the plant? Tell me, what are the vegetative parts? Leaves, roots, branches, yes, no, stem. These are all vegetative parts. Tell me, what are the reproductive parts? Flower is the reproductive part. What is the the product of reproductive parts? Fruits. Yes, no, fruits are the result of flower. Yes, no, the result of flower is nothing but fruits and seeds. So in this chapter, mainly from morphology till roots to seeds, everything we are going to study. We have started from the roots. So the modification, which means the changing of the roots, is also happening. Why the roots have to change? Why they have to modify? So we know the general functions. What are the general functions? Now only we have studied. Conduction of water and minerals, anchorage, storage of reserve food materials, and they also synthesize the plant growth hormones. Yes, no. So other than the normal function, if the root is modifying, if the root is changing, that is nothing but root modification. Okay, the root is changing their structure and shape to do the specialized function other than the normal function, then that we consider as a root modification. Before going to study that root modification, we'll learn about the reasons of the root. Okay, if you take the typical root part, okay, they're having the 4 regions. How many regions? 4. Till root cap to region of maturation. The from distal to proximal part, from the root cap to root hairs. Okay, nothing but region of maturation. See, so the primary one is root cap. Okay, so what is the work of root cap? You will wear caps, no? Why you to why you always wear caps when you are going to the sunny regions? Huh? For the protection. The cap is for the protection, which means the root cap also protection is for the protection, which is the root cap protecting what? Yes, right? The region which is the delicate regions, which means the having the primary cells, like actively dividing cells, the tender part, which means the delicate part, which is covering by the root cap. Okay, it is exactly like thimble like structure. It is what will function of this root cap is it penetrate deeper into the soils. So every day we are not watering the plants. Is we every day keeping water to the plants? No. So this root cap penetrate deeper into the soil and observe the water. Okay, it makes way through soil. Okay, so it is protecting the thin delicate cells. Okay, the reason of thin delicate cells, nothing but the tender region, which means the delicate region. The root cap is protecting the delicate region. So see, the root caps very proximal, which means very near to the region of elongation, and this region of elongation very proximal to the region of maturation. Okay, see, coming to the next, the region of meristematic activity. What are meristematic cells? What is meant by meristematic activity? The meristematic region means they are having the meristematic cells, which means they are actively dividing cells. Yes, no? They are actively dividing cells, which means, see, these are the cells. These are cells, meristematic cells. Is you see any intercellular spaces? Is there having any intercellular spaces in the meristematic cells? No, there is no intercellular spaces, which means the region of the meristematic region doesn't have the intercellular spaces, and they have the thin cell wall, okay, which is not prominent, which means they are actively dividing cells. If the cell wall is built very hard, then how come they divide? Yes, no, that is why the cell wall is very thin and having the prominent nucleus. So by the division, the nucleus also have to be divided. Yes, no, that is why they are having the prominent nucleus and dense cytoplasm. Okay, and there is no vacuoles, and there is no vacuoles. So these are small cells and having the thin cell wall and having the prominent nucleus and dense cytoplasm, because they are actively dividing cells. They are present in the region of meristematic activity. That is why they are given the name as meristematic activity. So to this proximal region, what is the next region will be? It is present region of elongation. So these cells are having the increase of vacuoles. Okay, compared to these cells, this cell wall deposition slowly occurs in the region of elongation. Okay, there is no complete cell wall deposition. It will be completed in the region of maturation, not in the region of elongation. So here we can see the slowly increasing of the vacuoles, which means in which region, if they ask the vacuolization is increasing, means in the region of elongation. There is no presence of vacuoles in the region of, there is no vacuoles present in the region of which region? Is the meristematic, elongation and maturation? No, there is no vacuoles, you cannot see. Region of meristematic activity. Yes, no, in this region there is no vacuoles. In which region the slowly increase of vacuoles? Elongation. Okay, so coming to this region, elongation, the proximal region is maturation, which means the cell wall deposition is fully completed, and we can see the cells are having all cells are having the vacuoles, which means the cells are differentiated and mature, and these cells are having the thin delicate structures, what we call root hairs. They increase the surface area, they helps in the absorption of water and minerals. Got it? So just tell me now, one minute. Where is that slide, Ray? Okay, not an issue. Tell me, in which region you are not going to see any vacuoles? Region of meristematic activity. In the meristematic activity, having the which cells? Those are having the function of actively dividing cells. They have the thin cell wall or thick cell wall? Thin cell wall. And they are having the prominent nucleus or non-prominent nucleus? Prominent nucleus. And they are having the dense cytoplasm. Okay, in the region of elongation, what you are going to see? We can see the vacuolization increasing of every cell, and the complete vacuolization seen in which region? Region of maturation, and they are having the thick cell wall deposition. Okay, the cell wall deposition is completed in the region of maturation. Okay, and they have the thin delicate structures called root hairs. What is the work of the root hairs? Water and minerals. There are the primary epidermal cells. Okay, so this is about the reasons of the root. Now, if the root is modified, okay, if the root is modified to perform the other than the normal function, some specialized functions. What are those functions? Okay, see, for the support, which means if the plant need the support, see, if you are in soil, if you kept one what we call rod, it can withstand for the heavy wind? No, for the heavy wind it fall off. Yes, no? So for that condition, and also if you see the banyan tree, okay, it is having the huge amount of woody. Yes, no? It is huge amount of having the bark. So to stabilize that branches, the roots are arising from the branches and fixed into the soil. For the support, mainly the reason of the modification of root is for the support, for the respiration, and also for the storage of food, and other functions also. First we learn about the support. So coming to the example of the prop roots is banyan tree. The roots arise from the branches and fixed into the soil, okay, and provides the support. So it not let the plant have to, if heavy wind came, if cannot support the roots, the roots cannot support the entire strength of the plant. That time the roots are erased from the branches and fixed into the soil. It gives the support. With the help of that support, the plant cannot fall off from the heavy winds and all that. What are the examples for that? Banyan tree. And coming to the sugar cane. If you see, the sugar cane is a long stick or not? Yes, right? So how can it withstand that any adverse conditions? Means this is the sugar cane. Okay, it is having the nodes. From the base nodal region, the roots are erased and fixed into the soil. With the help of these roots, they can withstand to any adverse condition. They can tolerate any adverse conditions, so they will not fall off. Okay. So the example of the sugar, this roots, what we call means stilt roots. What? Stilt roots. And the banyan roots, which are erased from the branches. So tell me, the roots of the banyan tree, which are erased from the branches, is there adventitious roots or fibrous roots or taproot system? Adventitious roots, because the roots are arising from the plant organs. Okay. So the example is banyan. So these banyan roots are also called as prop roots or pillar roots. What? And they are also called as hanging roots, as they are hanging from the branches and fixed into the soil. Those are also called as hanging roots, prop roots or pillar roots. Okay. And coming to stilt roots, the example is of sugarcane and maize. Okay. So coming to the storage roots. For the storage, which means the root itself performing the storage function. The example is carrot. Carrot is a taproot or adventitious root. And coming to the sweet potato, the roots are erased from the nodes. Okay. So sweet potato is also storing the food. Is the root is modified or not? For to do the specialized function. Coming to the fibrous roots. Fibrous roots means, is the primary root is short lived or long lived? Short lived, and it replaced with the numerous roots. So those numerous roots arise from the base of the stem. Very good. Okay, the example is asparagus. Okay, and coming to the respiration. Tell me, is the plants need oxygen or not? Okay. For what purpose they need oxygen? For the tell me. For the respiration. Yes, no. What is the difference between the respiration and breathing? Respiration creates the cellular energy. Okay. Breathing means inhaling and exhaling. Respiration means it creates the cellular energy. For the cellular energy, in the what is the powers of the cell? It is aerobic reaction or anaerobic reaction? Aerobic, which means in the presence of oxygen only mitochondria can produce energy. Yes, no? So for that what they need? Oxygen is need. Yes, no? Plants also need oxygen. For what purpose? For the to produce the ATP, nothing but energy for the respiration. Okay. So see, earthworms are very friendly to farmers. By what the function of the earthworms? They will do the porous. They make the soil porous. Okay. By the porous, what will happen? The water will absorb easily and the air can travel easily. Yes, no? So the air can reach to the roots and they can do the process of respiration. They will do the with the help of the oxygen. They will make the energy. Yes, no? So coming to here, in swampy regions, okay, in the muddy conditions, okay, those are halophytes. What we call the plants which are grown on the salty regions, okay, salt regions, we call it as halophytes. So in the mud condition, is there any way to travel oxygen? No. Yes, right. So in that case, so the roots which actually have to grow towards the soil, but they grow vertically upwards, okay, for to get the oxygen. So those roots are called respiratory roots. Those are also called as pneumatophores. The examples are Avicennia and Rhizophora. Avicennia and Rhizophora. They mostly seen in mangrove plants. Okay, they mostly seen in mangrove. So in the near to the oceans, these plants can be found. Okay, so these are the main three important functions that roots are changing their structure and shape. Coming to the next, photosynthetic roots. What is meant by photosynthetic roots? Photosynthesis, which means the roots itself performing the photosynthesis. Tell me which parts of the plant are food factories? Food factories of the plant is, which means the food prepared in which part of the plant? Leaves. So leaves are also called as food factories, which means in these photosynthetic roots, the roots itself are producing the food. Yes, no? Which means the roots which having the chlorophyll pigment. That is why it can absorb the sunlight. We all know that by the chlorophyll pigment only the sun can, the light can absorb by the plant. Which means the roots are itself absorbing the sunlight and preparing the photosynthesis. That is why those roots are called as photosynthetic roots. The examples is Ctenophyllum. And coming to the nodular roots. What are nodular roots? The roots having some ball-like structures. Okay, ball-like structures. Yes, very good. So those ball-like structures having the bacteria name called rhizobium. Okay, what is the work of rhizobium? Nitrogen fixation. Is the requirement of nitrogen to the plants? For what purpose? Tell me, is we need nitrogen? Is we need nitrogen? So how come we are taking the nitrogen? See, in atmosphere almost 78% of nitrogen is present, but we don't have that mechanism to take directly as a nitrogen. So we'll take by plants. So plants have that mechanism? Means no. Plants also don't have that mechanism to break the nitrogen directly. So which organisms have that mechanism to break down nitrogen is bacteria. Okay. So when it is showing the symbiotic association with the plants, okay, by staying in their root nodules, they break the nitrogen and gives to the plant nitrogen. So our DNA is made up of Our DNA is made up of our DNA. Yes. We need nitrogen? Of course. Okay. But we don't have that mechanism. We are indirectly depending on the plants. Okay. Plants have DNA? Yes. Which means plants also need nitrogen. They are taking with the help of bacteria. Okay. Those roots having the nodules in their structure, okay, those we called as nodular roots. So which mostly seen in the family of Fabaceae. Fabaceae plants are also called as tell me. Fabaceae plants are also called as leguminous plants. Okay. Fabaceae family plants are also called as leguminous plants. What are the examples of the leguminous plants? Groundnut. Okay. See, the main staple food, rice and wheat, they requirement more amount of nitrogen. Okay. That is by the reason, by the, what we call, in the field of agriculture, they more give the fertilizers of NPK. What? Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Yes, no? Which means they need more amount of nitrogen. So in the ancient process, what they will do for the nitrogen means, those times they're not populated, the fertilizers are not populated. So what they have to do, in one line they will keep the leguminaceae plants, which means nothing but Fabaceae plants, and next to the one row they will keep the plants of rice. Okay. So what will happen? The bacteria have the work to done the nitrogen fixation. Yes, no? So whatever amount of plant needed, it will take it. Other than about the requirement, it will deposit to the soil only. Those soil rich with now nitrogen, that will be again absorbed by the next line of the plants, which is staple food like rice, wheat. Those times they did like that. Now they are directly using the fertilizers. Okay. Which means the more, if you want the good yield of rice and wheat, they require more amount of nitrogen. So our main staple food is for Indians rice and wheat only. So indirectly we are getting nitrogen or not? This is how we are getting nitrogen. Okay. So those roots are called nodular roots. Coming to the Wellman roots. Wellman roots are also called as epiphytic roots. What are epiphytic roots? Epiphytes. What are epiphytes? What are epiphytes, ma? The plants grow on other plants. Okay. They are not benefiting. Okay. Those roots are called epiphytic roots. Epiphytic roots are also called as Wellman roots. Okay. So they are depending on other plants but not getting any benefit, and they are not losing any of its identity. Okay. Those plants are called as Wellman roots. The plants which grow on other plants, they are called epiphytes. Those are also called as Wellman roots. The example is Vanda. So we know that the roots are absorbing the water. So how come it is growing on other plant? It is not depending on that plant also. Then how come that plant is taking water? From the atmosphere. Okay. Here is also having the atmosphere. If you keep the bread here, it will absorb the moisture. Yes, no? So the plant is also absorb moisture from the atmosphere, and it is preparing their photosynthesis. Okay. They are not dependent. Okay. But they are growing on other plants. Those example is Vanda. What? Vanda. And coming to the next one, which is hostorial roots. Hostorial roots are also called as parasitic roots. What? Parasitic roots. Which means they are depending on the other plants, either for the water, either for the food. Okay. There are two types of hostorial roots, which means partial parasite and complete parasite. What is meant by complete and partial? Completely depending on other plants. Partial means they are not completely depending on other plants. So partial parasite, partial hostorial roots. Okay. Which means some plants depending on other plants only for the water. They only penetrate into their xylem. for the water. They will take only water. Those are called as partial roots, partial parasitic roots. They from the host only they are getting water. Okay, the plant is not getting any benefit. The host plant is not getting any benefit, but the plant which is depending on the other plant, they are getting the benefit. Okay, by only water we call it as a partial parasite. So those roots are called host-oriented roots. The examples of the partial parasite is viscum and striga. Viscum and striga. And coming to the complete parasites, which means totally they are depending on the other plants for food and water, which means the transport of water occurs by the xylem. Very good. The transport of food occurs by the phloem. Yes, no? So which means for the food and water, the parasitic plant which penetrate into the xylem and phloem tissues. Okay. So the examples of the complete parasite is Rafflesia and Cascata. Okay. So tell me, is the xylem is a unidirectional conduction of water or bidirectional conduction of water? Unidirectional. From the roots to shoot system, it is only shows the unidirectional. Coming to the phloem, it's a uni or bi? Uni or bi? Uni or bi? Phloem is unidirectional or bidirectional? No, bidirectional. See, the food factories of the leaves, yes, no? It is present on the topmost part. Is the food is required for the roots also or not? Of course, which means the phloem tissue supplying for every, like the phloem are the delivery boys. It will deliver all the food which is prepared in the leaves to all parts of the plant. Okay, but the water is requirement of the top of the leaves. That is why it is transporting as a unidirectional. Got it? Okay. So this is about the root. In the next class we are going to be discussing about the stem as well. Okay.